You're going to pick up your phone today at least 96 times, not because you need to, not because anyone messaged you, not because something important happened. You're going to pick it up because a tiny part of your brain has been quietly rewired by people who understood your psychology better than you understand it yourself. And by the end of this video, you'll see exactly how they did it. What you're experiencing isn't weakness. It isn't addiction in the clinical sense. It's the result of a specific psychological mechanism called variable reward. And once you understand how it works, two things will happen. First, you'll never look at your phone the same way. Second, and more importantly, you'll finally have real control over it. Let's start in 1960s Las Vegas. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Burrhus Frederick Skinner was running experiments on pigeons. He wanted to know what made behavior stick, what made a creature keep doing something over and over. He tried giving the pigeons food every time they pressed a lever. They pressed it. They ate. They stopped pressing when they weren't hungry. Then he tried something different. He made the reward unpredictable. Sometimes pressing the lever gave food. Sometimes nothing happened. The pigeons had no way of knowing which outcome they'd get. And what happened was remarkable. The pigeons became obsessed. They pressed the lever compulsively, far more than when the reward was guaranteed. They couldn't stop. Skinner called this variable reward, and he quietly noted in his research that this was probably the most powerful behavioral mechanism he'd ever discovered. Fast forward 30 years. The casino industry had read Skinner's research very carefully. They used variable reward to design slot machines, not just as entertainment, but as behavioral traps. The spinning reels aren't random by accident. They're random by design, because a guaranteed win teaches your brain to stop. But a win that might happen, that could be just one more spin away, that keeps you pulling the lever forever. Las Vegas became the most profitable entertainment industry in human history, built almost entirely on this one psychological principle. Now here's what nobody told you. In 2007, a small team of engineers in Silicon Valley read the same research, and they decided to build it into something you'd carry in your pocket every single day. Here's what's actually happening in your brain when you pick up your phone. Your brain has a reward circuit, a network of neurons that releases dopamine when you do something beneficial. Food, sex, social connection. Dopamine isn't pleasure exactly. It's more precise than that. Dopamine is the feeling of anticipation. It's what drives you toward the reward, not what you feel when you get it. And here's the critical part that most people miss. Neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz discovered in the 1990s that dopamine doesn't fire when you receive a reward. It fires when you expect one, and it fires even more intensely. Researchers found 2 to 3 times more dopamine when the reward is uncertain. This is exactly why pulling to refresh your Instagram feed feels so compulsive. Every pull is a slot machine pull. Sometimes there's something exciting, sometimes nothing new. Your brain can't know in advance, so it floods you with dopamine just from the act of checking. The engineers at every major social platform understood this mechanism precisely. In 2017, a former product designer at Google named Tristan Harris testified before the US Senate and said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We didn't build these apps to help you. We built them to be as hard to put down as a slot machine." The infinite scroll was specifically designed to remove the natural stopping points that books and even older websites had. There's no page 2 to signal you've reached an end. The notifications were designed to be unpredictable. The red badge number was designed to trigger the same urgency response as a physical threat. None of this happened by accident. Your phone is a slot machine. The likes are coins. The scroll is the lever. And your dopamine system is the mechanism they're exploiting. So what do you do with this? Because knowing the mechanism is one thing, but understanding doesn't automatically give you control. If it did, nobody would smoke cigarettes. Everyone knows what they do. The reason awareness alone isn't enough is that variable reward bypasses the rational part of your brain. It operates at the level of reflexes and impulses, not decisions. You can know a slot machine is designed to take your money and still pull the lever. So here are the 3 things that neuroscience actually shows work. Not productivity hacks, not willpower advice, but direct interventions on the mechanism itself. The first is friction. Your brain's dopamine system is lazy. It responds to ease. The harder you make it to check your phone, the less your brain will bother. This isn't about willpower. It's about architectural change. Move social apps off your home screen. Put your phone in a different room when you work. Add a password to Twitter. These aren't inconveniences. They're circuit breakers. The second is scheduled checking. Variable reward only works when checking is unpredictable. If you decide in advance, I'll check my messages at 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and 6 p.m., you've converted a slot machine into a vending machine. The dopamine pattern breaks because the uncertainty is gone. The third, and this is the one almost nobody talks about, is replacement, not removal. Your brain doesn't just want the dopamine hit. It wants the sensation of anticipation and discovery. Give it a healthier version of the same thing. A physical book you're genuinely curious about. A podcast you save for the commute. An activity with uncertain but real rewards. Cooking something new. Learning an instrument. Reading about psychology. You can't delete the circuit, but you can redirect it. Skinner's pigeons never had a choice, but you do. You just needed to know what you were actually dealing with. This is what this channel is about. Not life hacks, not motivation. The actual mechanisms behind why you think, decide, and behave the way you do. Explained through real science and real stories. If you want to understand your own mind better, subscribe. New videos drop every week, and it's about something even more unsettling. I'll see you there.